What is going on, YouTube? Carter here with Edged Mindset. Got another video for you. We're doing first impressions of a fox knife, a Pokemon knife. I don't have a lot of fox knives. In fact, this may be my first one. I've been trying to think. I guess I could do a search on my videos. I think this might be my first fox knife. I've looked at a bunch over the years. Been interested in some, but I don't think I ever have. So this is an Italian-made knife. This is the Fox, designed by Mr. Vox. I'm not going to try to say his first name. The FOX VOX Chilin. This has been getting a lot of attention. This knife has been getting a lot of attention. A lot of people say it's kind of the folder flipper of the year. It's made in Italy. Did I just say that? I believe I said that. Maybe I didn't. It is an Italian-made knife. This one's pretty cool. I gotta admit, it is pretty cool. A lot of fox knives don't really do anything for me. They look a little off. Sometimes they look like pretty cheap. But this one is pretty dang cool. Comes in a little vinyl pouch. And then a cool, like, what is this, linen type thing? Kind of cool. You know, like, it's cheap, right? So, like, I'm not too big into spending a lot of money on packaging. But this kind of stuff's pretty cool because this is really cheap. It's just a linen bag, but it's kind of cool. And I went with the full titanium, baby. Full titanium Chilin. And I got to say, I really, I dig this knife. It is really cool. Let's do some sizification on this guy. It's kind of that perfect EDC size, a little bit smaller or a lot smaller depending on your definition of little, right? If you're married, not married, huh? You know what I'm saying? Dating. You might have a different opinion of what's little and not. A little bit smaller than the Spyderco Paramilitary 2, but you actually get about the same amount of cutting length, if I could get that to line up there. So that's pretty cool. Little more economic in terms of space, basically because it doesn't have this giant choil here, which, here's the thing with the choil, it's all relative, right? Because like some people are like, oh, I love the choil, you can choke up on it. It's like, or you just buy a knife without a choil and you're already choked up. Like, you know, I don't know. I see the use for choking up on a knife. I rarely see a practical use for choking back on a knife. So for me, it's almost like, well, how about you just make it smaller so that you're just naturally choked up. Anyways, that is a segue there. So what's cool about this knife? You know, a lot of things. It's a really good design. In fact, out of all the Vox design knives, this is my favorite one. Super ergonomic, super cool. It comes in different scales. You can get carbon fiber, I think like G10. This is the titanium, like I said. Now, there are some drawbacks to this. This is a heavy little guy for its size. Let's get some weight on here while we're thinking about it. 5.1 ounces, which is pretty decently heavy. Not crazy, pretty decently heavy. I will say that the balance is a little goofy because it's all in the handle. The blade is decently thick stock, but because it's full flat grind, it's a pretty light blade. So the balance point is like clear back here, like right about here. So it does feel a little off. Now, I have a love-hate relationship with the concept of balance on folding knives because, yes, a good balanced knife feels kind of better, but in my opinion, it applies no realistic advantage, right? It's not a sword. You're not swinging it around. It doesn't need a center of gravity in order to use. It's just a small blade with a handle. So to me, the balance doesn't really translate to usability or any practical thing, but it does feel a little weird when the handle's heavier than the blade, in my opinion. It does feel a little off. Got some nice jimping up here on the top. This thing is just meant for cutting and meant for work, which takes us to the blade steel. This is M398. Oh my God, M398. What is that? It's bigger than M390. M390 was amazing. This has an 8 on it. I'm one of those folks that is not way into blade steels, but I still have that little part of me that's like, ooh, cool. It's new, right? It's new, it's fancy. From what I've seen, M398, I don't know. It doesn't even seem like it's that much better. It's harder. So it should have better edge retention, but then I think you lose a lot of toughness. Like, I don't know. It doesn't seem like the consensus on the M398 is all that spectacular. And then I haven't heard the best things about Fox and their heat treat of M398. So take that with a grain of salt. I didn't do a ton of research. That's a little bit of poking around. I thought it was cool. That's M398. This is the first knife that I have with it, but I have not seen anything that really says like, oh, it's amazing. You know, you got to get it. But so it is what it is. If you're interested in getting that, this is a good, reasonably affordable way to do that. Although I don't hear the best things about Fox and their heat treat. So, you know, do with that information as you will. So on the scales here, love this milling pattern. Looks really cool. And I like how it contrasts with the smooth section, right? So it's not just that they milled this thing and they're trying to hide it as a feature by having giant mill marks. It's actually done on purpose. As you can see, the whole thing doesn't have it. All of these contours don't have it. I don't know if that's a titanium collar, but it looks really clean and it looks really, really good. They put the actual screw hole on the back, so the front of this thing is pretty. I mean, it is just, this is a pretty knife. I will say that the secondary bevel is a little rough, uneven. You can see how it's not that good. It's fairly even side to side, but like the line is like, you know, where it cuts in is like wavy and it's thicker here and then it gets thinner and then thinner back here. The sharpening job on this is not as good as I would like to see from factory. Look how short the bevel is, like right up here. And then it gets really wide. And then even when it gets wide, it's like bubbly and bouncy. So a little disappointed on the sharpening on this knife. Plenty sharp, razor sharp, but a little bit messy. Little messy. Sharpening choil, beautiful. The lines on this thing, though, it's a piece of art. Way it cuts in right there. I like the acid wash on this one. It looks a little, like it gives the same impression that you've seen before, but they do it, it looks a little different. Like it's a little cloudier. I like it. It's not as aggressive as acid stonewashing typically is. Like you don't really see the stonewashing marks. It's kind of just a smudgy, cloudy, cool finish on there. Anyways, back to the handles. We've got an embedded steel liner here, which thank God it's steel. This actually is just like a sub liner lock where it comes down in here and the screw that holds in the pocket clip holds in the liner. I know you can't see it. I'm pointing at it like you can see. You can't see it. But that holds in the liner on this side. So that means if you switch the pocket clip to go left-handed, you've got to leave this screw in because it's important. You cannot just leave that screw out because it's holding in this steel liner here. One thing I want to note, it does have a ceramic ball detent, which is excelente, por favor. And once again, I don't know if you can see it. Oh yeah, look at the lock face. Curved. I haven't seen one of those in like 8 years. Look how curved that lock face is, or radiused. It is not, I don't know if you're really seeing it here. Let me try to get the contrast. It is a curved lock face. So good thing it's a steel liner, so it really shouldn't move in. If it was a titanium liner, you'd run the risk of getting kind of the old school Strider lock slip and lock rock that they are known for. But shouldn't be an issue here because you have a nice thick steel liner. Early lockup, so non-issue. It is running on bearings, pretty smooth. There is quite a bit of lock bar tension on this though, so it's only going to be so smooth. You know, it can wiggle shut, but it's not going to just drop shut, if you know what I mean. Backspacer here, I don't think that's titanium. Maybe it is. Maybe that is titanium because I was going to say it seemed too light, but I think that's just contrasting the darkened handles here. So maybe that is a titanium backspacer. You've got your lanyard hole nice and big right there. You can put anything through that. Please insert jokes right there. Wire pocket clip. I don't have a problem with wire pocket clips. Some people hate them. I don't know if there's any aftermarkets for this yet. It does have a ton of tension though. This is like freaking, you can barely move that thing. Ton of tension, but it seems to go in and out of pocket good. I mean, that is the benefit of the wire clip. Because there's so little surface area, you can really crank these things down and it still goes in and out. It doesn't need a lot of flex because it can pretty much slide over just about anything. You got a good amount of opening there. It goes in, goes out. Insert jokes. Quite well. Ergonomics, fantastic. You've got this like boomerang type shape to it, and then how it has this big fingers choil. Both your fingers kind of fit up in that, and then it kind of pushes that tip forward so you can get some good slicey dicey action with the tip there. You can do some fine work. You've got the jimping up here, which is a little far away. I got pretty long fingers, and that's about as far as I could possibly say to put jimping. So if you've got smaller fingers, smaller hands, you might not really be able to reach that unless you go into like the weird pseudo danger zone choil here that isn't really a choil. But you know, you run the risk of nicking your finger there. But really cool knife. And these are reasonably priced. Like this is one of the more expensive ones. I think it's like $240, $250 for the titanium handles. Carbon fibers, a little bit less. That one's still kind of up there. And then they've got some cheaper, more economical versions of this. But just a cool looking, very practical EDC knife that's done very well. Not made in the US, but you know, Italy's pretty cool. So yeah. All right, guys, let me know. What do you think of the Chilin? Is it as cool as the hype says it is? Do you think it's as awesome as everyone says it is? I don't think it quite is, but it's a cool little knife. I'm glad I picked it up. Very unique looking. I love the finish on this one. In my opinion, very affordable, priced right for what you get, and very usable. So, all right, guys, I'm out. Take it easy. Catch you on the next one.